Assalamualaikum and hello to everyone. In today's video lesson, we will continue with our syllabus by looking at Chapter 3. In this video lesson, we will cover the first 4 subtopics for Chapter 3. For the fourth subtopic, we will cover until direct expansion air conditioning systems. The objective for the subtopics are on the right of the screen. Now, before we begin with the first subtopic, I have listed down some similarities between the chapters covered in MEC333 Building Services and MEM376 Plant Engineering for the subtopics which we will cover in this chapter. As you can see, most subtopics have already been covered in both courses, with MEC333 having the most similarity. Therefore, there should be no problems with relating what you have learned from all 3 courses. For the introduction, we have here a bit of history lesson with respect to air conditioning. As you can see, to condition air, we do not need any fancy equipments in order to make our surrounding comfortable. Ancient Romans have used a system called hypokos to produce warm air during nighttime or winter so that they feel comfortable during these cold times. While ancient Egyptians have used a technique called evaporative cooling to produce cool air from the hot and dry air of the desert. And as for today, with the ever-increasing need for human comfort, more sophisticated air conditioning systems and equipment have been produced by the HVAC industry. Now, it is important that before selecting the right air conditioning system and equipment, we consider these 4 factors first. The first and most important is the cooling load requirement for the space which we want to install the air conditioning system. Cooling load here refers to the amount of heat that needs to be removed from the space for the occupants to feel comfortable. There are many factors which will influence the amount of cooling load, for example, building orientation with respect to the sun, building materials, the use of space, and etc. In Chapter 4 later, we will learn on how to calculate the cooling load for a space. The second factor is space availability. In other words, for us to install the air conditioning system, there must be sufficient space to place the system. Some systems might require little space, for example, window units and split unit air conditioning system. Other systems might require a large area for installation and operation, such as package and centralized air conditioning systems. Some buildings or residential houses might require ceilings if there is the need to install air distribution systems. The third factor is whether zoning requirement is needed for the space. Some air conditioning systems can provide zoning during operation to fulfill the needs of a building. Take a hospital for example. Some areas in the hospital may require air temperature to be different from one another. Therefore, the zoning requirement for a building must be taken into consideration. The fourth factor is the cost of the air conditioning system. This includes before, during, and post-installation costs. Some air conditioning manufacturers might provide better before and after sales services when compared to one another. For the third subtopic, we will look at the general air conditioning system classification, or in other words, the main groups for an air conditioning system. The first classification deals with how the components which makes up an air conditioning system, are arranged and installed. For unitary or package systems, in terms of components, they are all arranged as one package. However, for installation, unitary systems can be used readily, while package systems might require an air distribution system to distribute the conditioned air. For centralized air conditioning systems, the components are installed separately. Some components might need a special room for its operation, such as the chiller. Other components, such as the cooling tower, might be installed at a different location. The second classification is based on the primary cooling medium. For all air systems, air is directly cooled via its interaction with the refrigerant in the air conditioning system. Examples for an all-air system are the window and split unit air conditioning system. For all-water system, air is cooled via a cooling medium, usually water, which circulates to and from the air conditioning system. This form of heat transfer is also referred to as indirect expansion. Examples for an all-water system are packaged and centralized air conditioning systems. Now, both systems, all air and all water, can also be combined depending on the requirement of the space or building. The third and final classification is the ability of the air conditioning system to provide zoning requirement. Some air conditioning systems allow for individual control of the air temperature within the space to ensure comfort. Zones can be divided into single or multiple zone systems. The fourth subtopic will cover the types of air conditioning system based on how the refrigerant absorbs heat from the air-conditioned space before rejecting it to the outside. There are two ways the refrigerant can absorb heat from the air, either by direct expansion or indirect expansion. For direct expansion, the refrigerant interacts directly with the air from the conditioned space. For indirect expansion, the refrigerant absorbs heat indirectly from the air via a cooling medium, usually here water. In this video lesson, we will look at the direct expansion systems, while indirect expansion systems will be covered in another video lesson. For direct expansion systems, there are three air conditioning systems for this category. Now, all these systems have already been covered in the topics for MEC333 and MEM376, like I mentioned earlier in this video lesson. We can see here we have the window and split unit. Please remember what you have learned from building services and plant engineering, because they are nearly the same. Okay, maybe there are a few addition information which we can make comparison of. Make sure you can explain each air conditioning system individually and differentiate between all three systems. We have here the packaged air conditioning system. Okay, so you can see that for packaged air conditioning systems, it can be either mounted on the roof or the ground. So make sure you can differentiate, okay, between the types of packaged air conditioning systems. Take note of the advantages and disadvantages for each system. If there are any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me during our discussion session. Okay, we have come to the end of this video lesson. Please try to make a comparison between the types of air conditioning systems based on the similar topics for the courses involved. Thank you for your attention and have a good day.